So we connect life with something that is born and later on die. This originated 500 million years ago only. And so since then there has been some kind of balance between plants that use CO2 and produce oxygen, and animals like ourselves that use oxygen and produce CO2. And one can think that this is a fantastic balance, but it's not a balance. It's out of balance. The plants produce more oxygen than the animals are able to use. And therefore slowly the oxygen content in the atmosphere increase. And today it's 21% of the atmosphere. And it's a little bit worrisome to think it's just on the border, because if it was slightly higher, then a lot of things will self-ignite. It will start burning, because it burns easily when there's too much oxygen. So we're just at the maximum level of possible oxygen. The CO2 was used up by the plants, and it's almost zero today. I mean, there's a lot of discussion about that it's increasing, and that it's man-made, and it's burning of coal and oil and things. And all this is true. It's remnants from the early organisms that we're now burning and bringing back as CO2 into the atmosphere. But compared to what the early organism did to decrease it, and what the plants are doing today to decrease it, and a tiny addition we have added to the total CO2 abundance of the Earth's atmosphere. So the CO2 content was actually, before the last ice age, was down at a level that one could say was catastrophic, because if it went a little bit further down, then plants as we know them, plants with leaves and flowers, could not exist on the Earth. So the plants, the forest and the flowers and so would have died out if the CO2 content was not increasing again. And we would only have grass on the surface of the Earth. This is what called C3 and C4 plants. It's two different kind of plants that can thrive under different CO2 content. So it's not a balance between animals and plants. And it's worth stressing, CO2 is not a poison. CO2 is something that is very important for the plants in particular. It's actually also important for ourselves. And it's often mentioned like something very scary, some pollution or so. We wouldn't be able to breathe if there was no CO2 in the atmosphere. Our lungs require a small amount of CO2 in order to react to breathing. So there's a lot of things. It's a very good thing to have. If there's anything to be worried about with CO2, that is the speed of which it increases. So over the last century, then percent-wise compared to what we had before, which was very, very low, what we had before, but percent-wise of this amount that was before, it has increased very rapidly. And nature is always able to adjust to changes. So evolution would change and make us adapt to the new conditions. But here it goes too fast for nature to adapt for the evolution. So it's not the amount, it's the speed. It's a gradient that we could be concerned with. That one would think about what to do with. And of course, it's one out of many challenges we have. We have a near-Earth asteroid that would destroy the planet or the civilization, and we have the questions about water, and we have lots of things. And now there has been started a debate of CO2, which is one of these issues. And it's excellent that it has started. It gives an awareness of nature around it, and it starts these difficult political global institutions where people are forced to sit down and discuss really big problems around us and exercise on this. And in some sense, one could say the best with the CO2 is probably that we're forced to exercise on this process, which we need to use many times in the future.